Raila Odinga is facing serious political headache in this country. And I'm sure he's having sleepless nights. Musalia Mudavadi and Kalonzo musyoka, who are his co-principals, are not willing to enter into another agreement ahead of 2022 general election. But President Uhuru Kenyatta is willing to support the three gentlemen if they can agree on a single presidential candidate. So Raila Odinga was actually projected to be the candidate, but his partners are not willing to play balls. So he's facing a major headache. Let me just read for you a post which was done by Norman Magaya. Norman Magaya is a former CEO, Chief Executive Officer of the NASA coalition. Norman is saying, coalition building requires tolerance and humility. You don't have to love your partners. You only need to love Kenya more. Never disparage coalition partners for purposes of publicity and popularity. That moment of eating humble pie is high. If I say more, I will be in trouble. That's Norman Magaya. We all know that Norman Magaya shoots straight. He's one of the firebrand politicians we have in this country. And I'm actually proud to have worked with him as the national coordinator for ODM Youth when he was the chairperson. But who was Norman Magaya addressing in that post?
The cowardly act of Mr. Mudavadi attempting to apply brakes on the swearing in, to quote his own words, in Homa Bay, just 3 days before the historic swearing in, and his subsequent skipping of the event ruled him out of any future deal making, including the handshake. For in peace as in war, those who stand for nothing get nothing. Immediately Musalia boycotted the event. The trust that existed between him and Honorable Raila Odinga broke down irretrievably. Raila and ODM decided on that day to chart a new course without our so-called coalition partners. Musalia does not know what happened from there on. He was in the dark and he remains in the dark. He knows nothing about that chapter of Kenya's history and would be best advised not to parade his ignorance, especially in faraway lands. We are constrained to let Mudavadi know that his reputation as a reluctant revolutionary goes back many years, including 2002, when the democracy warriors in this country came together to defeat the Kanu machine. At the last minute, he is known to have switched off his phone, possibly to wait for it to be woken up by a Nigerian line later, and disappeared from his colleagues, only to emerge later singing Kanu Yajenga Inchi. In subsequent years, Mr. Mudavadi has perfected the philosophy of what he calls safe pair of hands, waiting like the proverbial hyena who waited for a man's hand to fall. We must inform Mr. Mudavadi and other enemies of the handshake that no hand from this handshake will fall for the hyena to benefit, so they must find other ways.
So in this video today, I want to be very brief, but focus on the headache and the challenges Raila Odinga is facing ahead of 2022, especially after the president challenged the NASA co-principals to agree on a single candidate. But before we do all those, if you are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two and click the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys from the bottom of my heart. But don't forget to give this one thumbs up. Now, Raila Odinga is actually paining. Musalia Mudavadi and Kalonzo musyoka are not willing to play ball. The truth of the matter is that by President Uhuru Kenyatta agreeing to support one of the NASA principals, the obvious choice would have been Raila Odinga. But I think Raila Odinga never handled his co-principals in the right way when they were together. And this is why he's facing some of this challenge. And the challenges are many, but I want to focus on four. The first challenge he's facing is the broken promises. We all know that NASA was a coalition. We had individual parties, individual political parties with various political interests. And one of the promises which was broken was the political parties' funds. In the year 2020-2021 financial year, the government allocated 826 million Kenyan shillings, 826 million shillings for political parties. In the year 2019-2020, they allocated 795 million Kenyan shillings. So each year, political parties are actually getting funds from the government. All political parties are ideally supposed to receive that funding. But there are conditions. Some of the conditions which are put is that a political party must have 20 members of parliament. That rule locks out most political parties, and only ODM and Jubilee Party qualifies. Then apart from 20 MPs, you must have 3 senators. Wiper, for example, missed the Senate by 1 because they had 2 senators during the election. Machakos went to another political party. Then you also need 3 governors. Again, in Ukambani, Kalonzo failed that. Musalia Mudavadi also failed in Western and in the entire country. Then you must have 40 MCS. I think that one they met. After meeting all those conditions, then you qualify. And then there was also the share based on the presidential results. Remember, in the last election, NASA boycotted the elections. So the money was not divided based on the number of presidential votes. It was split based on 20 MPs, 3 senators, 3 governors, 40 MCS. That alone locked out Wiper and ANC. But there was a gentleman agreement that ODM party was still going to share with them this money. The moment ODM party started receiving this money after the handshake, they've never shared this money with these political parties. So the question is, if Raila were to enter into an agreement with these people, and they put condition for them, for the ODM party, that for us, we want our share of political parties' funds, will they be able to provide that fund? Because every year, I'm sure they've actually drained that fund. So that's the first thing. Because also these other parties are saying that we didn't get enough governors, we didn't get enough MPs, we didn't get enough MCS because we were not a presidential candidate. And because they missed out, now ANC party would want a situation where Musalia Mudavadi is a presidential candidate, so that even if he doesn't become the president, his party is going to qualify for the political party's funds for future development of their party. Wiper is also saying the same, that now they're not going to go into an agreement. They just want Kalonzo to be a presidential candidate so that the 3 counties in Ukambani can elect 3 Wiper governors, the 3 Wiper senators, then they can also get members of parliament. Like, for example, Wiper missed 20 MPs, I think, by one MP. They only missed 1. And that's why they were interested the by-election in Msambweni. So if they had won in Msambweni, then at least they would have had 20 MPs. So these parties are now keen on pursuing their own interest because that promise was broken. Raila Odinga cannot come again to them and convince them otherwise. The second headache which Raila Odinga will have to deal with is the unnecessary attacks. What Norman Magaya was trying to allude to in his post. The ODM Secretary General Edwin Sifuna has been attacking the NASA core principles. And the way politics operate is that there is no way Sifuna was talking on his own. Edwin Sifuna was actually speaking for the ODM party because he's the Secretary General. There are certain things he can't say without approval of the party. There is no way Sifuna can attack Musalia Mudavadi. There is no way he can attack Kalonzo musyoka without the approval of the party and the party leader. So these attacks have been unnecessary. And these parties never took them lightly. So how then is Raila Odinga going to address the issue of these personal attacks on their political parties?
I can guarantee you, my brother, that even the meetings you have seen these leaders going around in the country, from Kabuchai to Matungu here and to Kalonzo's home turf, have all been financed by Gideon. That one I can tell you for a fact, because these are gentlemen who cannot operate without a sponsor. They have found a sponsor in Gideon Moi, and I really pity him, because Gideon Moi is going to know singular misery living around with these people. Because there are people who are dependent wholly on other people. They can never stand on their own. So we wish them all the best as ODM. As I said yesterday, for us, we have moved on as a party. We are looking for partnerships that benefit the political party, mutually beneficial agreements and partnerships.
ODM to formalize to formalize the divorce
with Mudavadi.
NASA. It is time to formalize it, because at the stage at which we are, it is no longer possible for us to pretend that we are friends. It's not.
So you're answering that question the person asked actually. So what's the status of NASA?
NASA is dead. It died at the swearing in. We are essentially just these are final rights, whether we will cremate.
So you got a new partner in the BBI.
And did ODM die at the handshake?
No, we are alive. We are here. In fact, we have never been healthier.
You just-
we have moved into a new.
You're also eating meat. You're also eating meat now.
You're a better suitor. Let me give the number.
Number 3 is the issue of the MOU, Memorandum of Understanding. I've always maintained on this platform that in politics, there is no political debt. But politicians still keeps on entering into Memorandum of Understanding. I don't understand why. Mwai Kibaki broke his MOU with Raila Odinga. Uhuru broke his MOU with Ruto. Raila broke his MOU with Kalonzo. Again with NASA. So normally in politics there's no debt. But these politicians keeps on writing this MOU. And the MOU, the NASA MOU, was stating that the ODM party was not going to participate in the next election. How is that possible? How do you lock ODM party from participating in election? It's not possible. Because if you lock out Raila Odinga, then it means in the next election, ODM might decide, let us then sponsor Joho or even Oparanya as the presidential candidate, because that's now not Raila Odinga. But Raila Odinga, through NASA, signed an agreement with their core principles. And that agreement was stating that Raila Odinga was not going to run. But Raila Odinga is also responding that indeed they had an agreement that if he becomes the president, then he was not going to run again. So according to Raila Odinga, he has not become the president. And therefore, he's still waiting for these guys to support him. Then he becomes the president, serves for one term, then leave for them. But those broken MOUs is something which these politicians are nowadays fearing. Let me tell you, even William Ruto, his main headache now is the MOU. And that's why someone like Moses Kuria is creating his own political party. Because they're supporting someone under his own party, then after the election, they decide to kick you out. What will you do? But if you have your own political party, then at least you can manage through that political party. So those broken MOUs, how is Raila Odinga going to deal with them? That's another headache he's facing. And lastly is covering lost grounds. We know that Kalonzo Musyoka is coming with the numbers. Many people normally dismiss Kalonzo's influence. Kalonzo will always deliver the Kamba votes. He has always delivered before, he's still going to deliver the Kamba vote. The question is, where is Raila Odinga going to get those votes if Kalonzo is not going to play balls? That's a headache. When it comes to Western Kenya, there is a strong challenge from ANC. So the question Raila Odinga is asking himself, if ANC is going to eat into his base, where is he going to get those votes from? He had calculated that Central Kenya was going to cover for those. But Central Kenya and the larger Mount Kenya region are reluctant. So where is he going to get those lost grounds? So those are the 4 major headaches Raila Odinga is facing ahead of 2022 general election, considering the fact that the president is not willing to support him. So the presidency is now just so near, but still so far away. Let me hear your thoughts on this, and thank you guys for your time. Bye-bye.